Oh, well, I think there are a number of things that your comments have sparked for me. And one of the things that I think about is that we have to get out of the idea that everybody, I agree on some level with the idea that citizenship is a responsibility that people take on. But I think that we have to get out of the idea that everybody has the same opportunity to take on those responsibilities as citizen. And we tend to, I think, downplay our expectations for people who presumably have potentially more capacity, resource to take responsibility, and over-responsibilize people for than other negative choices that they're making. And it ends up creating a lot of problems for how people have the potential to engage, or what that engagement looks like. So I think that when we're thinking about designs of systems and people taking on responsibility, it has to be matched with this question of, okay, what are the real barriers that people face to being able to participate, and how do we deal with those as a part of the process, right? I also, just give me a second, because when you were talking, Ed, about this design, it sounds a lot like some of the citizens' assembly work that happened in BC and Ontario around electoral reform. And there's a really interesting little piece about sortition and random that was written by a guy who works, are you familiar with the work of Mass LBP, led by people?
No.
Stands for, there's an organization, a public engagement organization in Ontario. And one of their guys wrote a piece on sortition, which is this very old sort of democratic way of governing by random allotment. Essentially, people get drawn from a hat and come and be part. Now, I'm not necessarily sure that I'm advocating for that, but I think those are the genuine things that we have to think about when we're thinking about how do we get people to the table that look like the population that we're trying to make decisions with on behalf of, and so on.
Well, on the assumption this is a conversation and we're not making individual, let me just come in on that. I think, take a low-income person, and you're going to ask this man or woman to devote many hours over the, say, course of 9 months to a project. I think if you're serious, then you have to pay them a certain amount. You have to give them a daily allowance to go to these meetings, because other people, professional people, upper income people, maybe more have more access. So I think I agree strong with your point. You have to take into account, if it is going to be a cross section, then there are going to be some lower income people who simply won't be able to afford to do it unless the public is willing to pay to cover their costs for participation. But I wouldn't I'm not advocating drawing out of the hat, by the way. I'm advocating a group that would really reflect in, as I said, age, gender, occupation, the nature of the province.
Sure.